This is episode 8 with Vernon Webb. Hi, my name is Leon Gabrielian, and this is the Thriving Life Club, the podcast for those who want to thrive in every area of life. Thanks for joining me today. Welcome to the club. Let's begin. I have the privilege of interviewing Vernon Webb. He's one of the top mind development trainers. If you're familiar with the Silva Method International, that's a world-renowned mind development company with programs in over 100 foreign countries. He has been selected by the Silva Method International as one of the top mind development trainers and speakers in the country. He has led training programs for a plethora of companies and organizations such as AT&T, KPMG, California State Bar Association, McDonalds, Pacific Bell, Los Angeles Urban League, United States Air Force Space Division, United States Justice Department, United States Treasury Department, United States Small Business Association, Southern California Edison, and so on. I'm very excited because we're going to be talking about mindfulness, and he's very qualified to talk about this, and you're going to enjoy this episode. Let's jump right in.
Tell the listener a little bit about yourself, about your story, where you came from, where you are right now.
Well, I am, outside of being a native of Los Angeles, I've always had an interest in the mind for as long as I can recall. And so I discovered the Silva Method of mind development in a magazine article, as a matter of fact. And so I went to the pre-introductory lecture, and this was back in 1977. And a gentleman by the name of Bert Goldman was the instructor, and this was his first class. And so I listened to the free introductory lecture. I was impressed by what I heard. I did some research into the Silva mind control method and saw that it was well established with celebrities and government figures and was around the world. So I felt this was a solid organization. And when I took the training, I saw what the training did for me, and it was just nothing short of incredible. Learning how to use your mind that way, being able to certainly learn to meditate, but going way beyond just meditation, learning how to communicate in what is normally considered to be a non-physical dimension and to perceive information through other than your 5 physical senses. So I went back and I took the training again because that's one of the features that they offer their graduates, to come back and take the training as many times as they want. And when I came back the second time, Bert Goldman pulled me aside and he says, I want you to consider becoming an instructor. And I was jazzed by the idea. And so he was my mentor. And we talked about what it was to meditate, the benefits of it, what the mind was capable of doing. So that was about 40 years ago. Fast forward, I now have my own company. My company is Webb Group Leadership Development. We do leadership development training and executive coaching. We conduct programs for managers, executives, and business owners. And in essence, what we do is we show them how to think differently. And by learning how to think differently, we show them the training and state-of-the-art training on how they can begin to see the benefit of slowing down their brainwave levels. And so therein is where the mindfulness comes in. What makes us unique is that we integrate both mindfulness and emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence and both mindfulness separately and together have become just the watchword within business circles, because corporations and their managers have found that executives function better when they know how to use their emotional intelligence in terms of communicating. They have people who are much more open to giving them ideas as opposed to being shut down. And so they saw that a person's EQ, emotional quotient, is more important than their IQ, intelligence quotient, because people with EQ are much more successful. And so that's what corporations are doing now. They're having their executives go through emotional intelligence training, and I explain to my clients that at the very foundation of emotional intelligence is mindfulness. So it's the integration of mindfulness and emotional intelligence that we provide in our program. And our signature series is a quantum leap to peak performance. And that's where...
the Silva Method, right?
Actually, no, this is beyond the Silva Method, as a matter of fact. The Silva Method gave me the input to begin to study, and I've looked through I've taken more neuroscience classes than I can shake a stick at. And so the Silva is my foundation. I will tell you that without a doubt. But I have gone beyond that in terms of researching various methods to help people move forward in their lives, learning how to use their mind. So that's where it differs. The training that my company provides is geared towards business people, whether they're managers and executives or whether they are business owners. But there is no difference. It's all about the mind.
28 years later, in 2005, I also took the Silva Method and I graduated. So 28 years after you took the Silva Method. That's amazing. Let's focus, for today's talk, let's focus on mindfulness. What is so important, the mindfulness?
What is so important nowadays about mindfulness is that many corporations, businesses, both public and private sector, are asking their employees to do more. And they're giving them less assets in which to do it. The amount of stress that a lot of the employees are under, and I'm sure that all your listeners can appreciate how they feel stressed at work, to understand how you can step back, take about 5 or 10 minutes to close your eyes and focus on here and now. And what is so important about that is that during that 5 to 10 minutes, you are relaxing. You are learning how to train your mind to be here and now and not to do what it normally does, which is to almost act like a drunken monkey. It's all over the place. I explained that you're all up to this point, before you learn mindfulness, your mind has been controlling you. When you begin to learn mindfulness techniques, you flip the script, and now you are controlling your mind. You see the difference?
Yes, absolutely. And by definition, what would you say is mindfulness?
Very simply, mindfulness is learning how to be aware of yourself and to be here and now. When you are learning mindfulness techniques, you are learning how to train your mind to do what you want it to do, to be here and now. And the advantage of learning how to be here and now with mindfulness is that you're now able to focus on your goals, your objectives. You can take it as far as learning how to solve problems. But in order for you to do those things, you have to learn how to be here and now, to focus and concentrate. And that sounds very fundamental, but most people don't know how to focus and concentrate because the mind, by its very nature, moves from what happened yesterday, what's going on this afternoon, what's going to happen tomorrow, and it moves so fast that people aren't able to really appreciate what it's like to be in one particular place and focus on one particular subject, or if you're looking to make changes within yourself to be able to know how to create the necessary mental pictures to, in essence, reprogram the mind. But the first question has to come up is, what do you want? The mind is known to be powerful, but what do you want? Most people don't know what they want. They're pretty sure they haven't got it, but they don't know what they want. So being able to ask just that question of what do you want? What you want is change. All right, that takes us a step forward, but even with change by its very nature is stressful. Even positive change, any kind of change, the mind is used to your functioning within a comfort zone. And as soon as you step outside of that comfort zone, you become uncomfortable. So now what you want to do, what most people do, is they just come back inside of that comfort zone. Well, that's all well, fine, and good, but there's no growth in your comfort zone. In order for you to grow and develop and to become more successful in your career, your business, or your life in general, you have to step outside of that comfort zone. But again, as soon as you step outside of your comfort zone, you become uncomfortable, unless you have learned to communicate and program your mind to exist outside of that comfort zone with comfort. And in essence, what that means is that you have expanded your comfort zone. And when you expand your comfort zone, that which once upon a time was uncomfortable for you is now comfortable. But you're looking at being able to achieve so much more than you normally would.
Does one consciously have to apply effort in order to expand that comfort zone, or does it sometimes happen on its own?
The effort that's required to step outside of your comfort zone is being able to focus on the here and now, which is what mindfulness allows you to do, and then to see yourself doing something that you would have challenges doing now. And because you're creating mental pictures, then you're saying, okay, I can create that kind of mental picture and I can see the benefit. But what you're in essence doing is you're allowing your mind to become familiar with what was something you'd never done before. And when it begins to see that mental picture that you're doing this and you're doing it comfortably, then the mind says, oh, okay, well, this is just something we do. Instead of stopping you from doing it, now it becomes just a matter of what you do whenever you want to.
How does it work on step-by-step basis, moving from being afraid or not being used to getting out of the comfort zone and habitually trained to be a certain way? How does it work on step-by-step basis, getting out of comfort zone and being in the here and now? Could you tell me how to become or use the mindfulness on a step-by-step basis?
Absolutely. On a step-by-step basis, Leon, what in essence you're talking about doing is creating some time in which you will not be disturbed. And allow yourself, I will say, 10 or 15 minutes. When you begin to close your eyes, you focus on your breathing because you need an anchor. So you focus on the air moving in and out of your body as you're breathing. When you become more comfortable with being aware of how the air is moving in and out of your body, you can, if you choose, close your eyes. And you continue to focus on your breathing. So when you're busy focusing on your breathing, your mind is going to want to wander. You'll gently bring it back. When you do that, you'll know you're doing it right. Some people have a different notion. They think, well, I couldn't do it and I wasn't doing it right because my mind kept wandering. Your mind is going to do that. The mindfulness aspect, though, is that you're aware that your mind is going in a direction that you don't want it to go into, so you gently bring your concentration back to your breathing. And what happens is that your mind begins to understand, this is what I have to do now. It's like having a child that hasn't been trained. When a child is being told no, the child wants to have a tantrum and so forth. Your mind is the same way. It's like a child that hasn't been trained. But once you begin to train and say, no, this is what we're going to do. But I want to look at, no, this is what we're going to do. We're going to focus on breathing. Once you've got that down, then you can decide, okay, so now I'm at a point in my mind, I'm at a level in my mind where I now can command what it is that I want. Question is, what do you want? Give you an example. Confidence. Confidence is a state of mind, isn't it? So with confidence being a state of mind, what you learn is, well, what does a confident person look like? What do they sound like? How do they walk? How do they move through the world? How do they interact with people? And everyone has someone that they see as being confident. And so you model what that person does, how they interact with people, how they move through the world, and you can say, I can do that. And once you have a mental picture that allows you to see yourself being confident, that's a step-by-step process. Now, you want to do that, I would tell you that if it's done once a day, it's very good. If it's done twice a day, it's very good. 3 times a day is excellent. So we go from good to very good to excellent. 5, 10, 15 minutes. The most difficult part of this, and I will tell you, and I've had my own challenges, the most difficult part of this is making sure that you create the time to do this on a daily basis. Okay, that's the challenge.
And maybe putting an alarm, right, on your phone to remind you to do 10 to 15 minutes of mindfulness.
Absolutely. Yeah. All smartphones have alarms. You set it for 15 minutes and begin to go through the entire mindfulness process. Now, it may feel so good you want to do more than 15 minutes, and that's okay, but I would say 15 to 20 minutes is really about as much as you need to do in terms of being able to reprogram your mind.
It sounds very easy and simple. I'm guessing...
It is simple. It is simple. It's just not easy. The most difficult part, Leon, is saying, you know what, normally I wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock. But now that I'm going to start learning how to train my mind, and I'm going to start using mindfulness, I've got to wake up a little earlier so that I can stay on my schedule. So you wake up instead of 6 o'clock, you wake up at 5:45. Get up out of bed, and you sit in a chair. That's important, because in the beginning, as you're learning how to reach that level of your mind, it is very easy for you to go back to sleep, because being able to use mindfulness meditation is very much like sleeping and being awake at the same time.
It's important to have be sitting so that you don't accidentally fall asleep, right?
Exactly. You want to be a little uncomfortable. So you're not going to be as comfortable in a chair as you are in your bed. So you want to sit in a chair, be a little uncomfortable, not a lot, but a little, just so that you can maintain your awareness.
Right.
You're sitting up in a chair, your feet are flat on the floor, your hands are in your lap. And hopefully you're in a very quiet environment. Some people say, well, can I listen to music? I would say that in the beginning, You want as much quiet as possible, and let me tell you why. Listening to the music gives you something else to focus on. And right now, what you're looking to do is you're looking to focus on you with no distractions.
Right. Someone listening to this might think it's okay to sit in a couch, for example, and sink into the couch. But no, you're saying it should be a regular chair, sitting upright. So
you
it's
want to be a little
uncomfortable.
uncomfortable.
Okay.
You can sit on a couch, and that's fine. And you'll find what works for you, because everyone is a little bit different. But what you don't want to do in the beginning is you don't want to lay down, because being in a horizontal position with your mind a lot more relaxed, you're going to do what you've always done, which is to go to sleep. And if you sleep, then it defeats the purpose. I mean, the sleep is good for you, but it defeats the purpose of what you want to do. Let me give you an example. Thomas Edison was considered a genius. And what Edison did is that he would sit in a chair. Most people don't know this, but if you search into his biography, he would sit in a chair and he would hold a steel ball in his hand. He would close his eyes and he would tell himself mentally over and over and over again to relax. And so he would do what he could to relax the muscles in his neck and in his body and all the way down, just to relax, relax, relax. Now, if he became too relaxed while he's holding the steel ball in his hand, if he were to fall asleep, his hand would drop down and the steel ball would hit the ground with a thud, and it would awaken him. And that was what he wanted, because he didn't want to sleep. He wanted to relax. So that's the purpose of creating the environment that's going to allow you to relax, but not go to sleep.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing this simple yet powerful technique. What if somebody actually utilized this simple technique of, sitting down for 10 to 15 minutes and visualizing what you just described, lived into that, and what would their life look like in 30 days, 90 days, or even a year?
You know what? If all you did was sit there and focus on relaxing, what it would allow you to do in terms of one of the benefits of mindfulness is to step back mentally and emotionally and look at the flow of your thoughts, and you just watch them move past. But what you will find is that you will begin to develop a confidence in yourself. And people ask me that question all the time. So how soon can I expect to see results of this? And I will tell you that easily, within, I'll say a week, you'll begin to see things differently. You'll just be looking at the people around you differently. And as you continue to do this on a daily basis, what you'll find is that those people who used to annoy you or people that you had challenges with, then this is where the emotional intelligence comes in along with the mindfulness. You'll find that you're in better control, because you see, when you get angry with someone, that is nothing more than they're having control over you. Some people know how to press your buttons, and the people that you, of course, have to look closest to are not strangers so much as your loved ones. They've been around you, they know you, so they know what causes you to get angry. And whenever they decide that they want to push your buttons for whatever their purpose may be, they know exactly what to say, they know exactly what to do, and then they just watch you get angry. So the first emotion that you really want to get a handle on as best you can is the emotion of anger. You need to know what makes you angry. And what that means is you sit down by yourself and just begin to list the things, the people, and the situations that cause you to get angry. And then once you've got this list down, begin to realize that this is not working for you. This is not helping you to get from where you are to where you want to go. So you begin to program your mind to let these things go. You don't have to get angry, because what anger does is anger tears down your body and your mind. You think about the last time that you really got angry. How did you like the way you felt? If you're like most people, you didn't like it, but you felt that there was nothing else that you could do. It just happened before you could even think about it. So now, with mindfulness, you're able to create a pause in what causes you to get angry. In other words, you're able to step back and look at the situation on a mental and emotional level that says, you know what, this is not something I'm going to get angry about. And you begin to make the necessary changes so that it no longer has the impact on you that it used to have. Just that, Leon, is enough to turn a person's world, take it to a whole nother level. And what is probably most interesting is that the people around you, the people who know you, they'll sense something different, but they won't know what it is. And they may ask you, they say, you know, you're different. What's it? Have you gained weight? And you know, no, I haven't gained weight. Well, have you lost weight? And they go, no, I haven't lost weight. Are you combing your hair different? No, there's something different about you, because they're looking for something physical. They don't realize that what they're experiencing, the changes that have happened within you, are just that, from within. Your energy is different. And sometimes people will say, well, aren't you going to get angry because this person said this? And you say, no, I used to do that. I used to get angry when people said that, but no, not anymore. It doesn't worth it. And people begin to see how you have empowered yourself. They begin to see that you have created an internal locus of control, where now you are calling the shots in your life as opposed to somebody else having control over you.
Absolutely. Yes, having the internal locus of control is probably one of the most important things one can do, and it makes the biggest impact as far as I've learned through studying psychology and other related fields.
Oh, absolutely. But you know what? Developing that internal locus of control is invaluable. It really, really is invaluable. The one thing that I tell my clients when I'm working with them, I said, but before we get into all of that, all right, because this is a step-by-step process, you have got to know and you have got to believe that you deserve the things that you are seeking. You deserve success. You deserve happiness. Because if you don't feel like you deserve to have these positive things in your life, trust me when I tell you, you will sabotage your best efforts. And the way that you will sabotage your best efforts to be successful is through self-doubt and procrastination. Those are the two biggest ones. All you got to do is plant some self-doubt. Well, I really don't think I can do this. Or, other people can do this, but I don't think. Once you plant that self-doubt, then you mentally and emotionally step back, and you, instead of moving forward, you step back. So you've got to start with you first. And that's, of course, where emotional intelligence comes in. When you start looking at the benefits of emotional intelligence and how you're going to wrap your head around emotional intelligence, because you see it as being important, the emotional intelligence has got to start with you. Has to. Then, once you have your relationship with you much more powerful than it has been, you'll find that you're able to take that new and powerful emotional intelligence and deal with other people. And you will do so in a loving way. You'll find that getting angry is not something you feel a need to do. You find yourself being a much more active listener. When people are having conversations with you, you become more engaged with people. So when you start seeing those things, people start gravitating towards you. They want to be around you. You've been around people, I'm sure, Leon, in which, you enjoyed their company. You enjoyed their energy. And there are other people that you spend time around that you don't feel that same way about. In fact, you're looking for an excuse to get away from them. Because as a general rule, when people have that kind of negative energy, you don't want to be around them unless you are negative too. So when they say birds of a feather flock together, that's what we're talking about. Negative people will attract other negative people. Now, you've got to decide, is this something that you want to do? Do you want to spend time around negative people? And if it isn't, then that means you need to change the way that you're thinking.
Talking about the change of thinking, the way we think, what are some of the maybe 3 top obstacles, roadblocks that get in the way of learning or in practicing mindfulness?
The 3 things that will stop people from wanting to practice mindfulness is if they believe that it's going to benefit them, and if they believe it can change their life for the better, but they don't believe they deserve those kind of changes, those kind of positive changes, then people say, well, I don't want to try it. I don't want to do that. So that will stop them. Just right there. As soon as a person doesn't feel as a, what if this works? That means that's going to change my life, and I'm going to be a happier person. And do I deserve to have this kind of success in my life? And you say, you know what? I've not been a good person, and I don't deserve this kind of happiness. I don't deserve this kind of success. So that will stop people from doing it. The second reason that people will struggle with mindfulness is that they have trouble creating that time, and that is just, it is almost the number one reason. People say, well, I don't have time. I can't slow my brain down. Well, have you ever tried? Well, yeah, I tried it once, but it didn't work. And so your one effort to slow your brain down didn't happen magically for you. You were not successful, and so now you're saying you can't do it. How much sense does that make? When you were a child, and this is really interesting, when you were a child and you were looking at learning to walk, you sit up there and you watch these big people put one leg in front of another, and you say, that's the way to get around. So a child stops crawling. He goes to a table and begins to work himself up the side of the leg of the table so that he can learn to stand and balance. And once he's got his balance down, then he starts trying to take 1 or 2 steps. Well, with every child, you take 1 or 2 steps and you fall on your butt. This is a baby that's learning to walk. That baby doesn't say, well, I tried to walk, I fell on my butt, forget this walking stuff. The child doesn't know what it can't do. He may cry a minute, but he will continue to learn. He'll try it again. He'll try it again until he is successful and he starts learning how to balance and put one foot in front of the other. When you're a child, you don't know what you can't do. It's only when you become an adult that you start thinking about what you can't do, and those become your predominant thoughts. But you know what? We can do anything we want to do. We just have to put our mind to it. The third area where people have trouble with mindfulness is that they think that they're not doing it right. And the reason they think that they're not doing it right is, well, yeah, I closed my eyes, but then I started thinking about other things. I thought about what I had to do this afternoon and what I did yesterday, and is this right, and what about that? And the mind just, that wasn't working. So they don't know how to focus. And they think that because their mind wanders that they can't do it. And as soon as they think that they can't do it, that's all it takes. There's a saying that says, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right.
So, what are the specific strategies to unlock those obstacles and roadblocks that you just mentioned?
I would tell you, Leon, that if you're serious about making these kinds of changes in your life, what works really well is to have an accountability partner, somebody whose judgment you trust, somebody who wants to see you be successful, and is willing to help you do that, so that the person who is your accountability partner may sometime in the afternoon say, well, did you find some time to meditate and go to level? And, well, no, I didn't. And they know that, what's coming up with some excuses. They say, you know what? You can't do what you want to do unless you sit down and create that time. So go and create the time like you're supposed to, and then get back with me and let me know how well it went. You need an accountability partner. We may think we can do it by ourselves. We may want to do it by ourselves. But trust me when I tell you, you will go a lot further, a lot faster when you have an accountability partner. We're kind of like ducks. You ever watch how ducks fly in a formation? They have one duck at the front, and they've got two rows of ducks at a V shape. Ducks fly further and faster when they fly together. And if the one in the front gets tired, he'll drop to the back of the pack, and another one will take his place. But they continue to stay together. An accountability partner is somebody who will be there to support you. They may say some things that you don't like and say, you know what, you're not doing what you committed to yourself. You may not want to hear that, but you know it's true. So oftentimes when you have an accountability partner, they will say and do things that you may not necessarily agree with, but when they're looking at supporting you and being there for you, you can't go wrong with an accountability partner.
Right. And when you hear your accountability partner saying, that's okay, do it tomorrow, that's fine, or themselves giving you excuses, then you know that you picked the wrong accountability partner, right?
There you go, Leon. You got it. That is exactly true. If they're not pushing you forward to be successful, oops, wrong accountability partner. You need to find somebody else. This is not. You need somebody who is going to push you to do what you need to do. We all need a little help.
Exactly. So what's the first physical observable step to take in order to get started? Like if someone is decided that yes, learning the mindfulness process and actually practicing it is worth it, and I should do it. It's going to help me tremendously. Mm-hmm. What is the very first step that I should physically take in order to get started?
Well, the very first thing to do is do a little bit of reading, because there are different ways that people will talk about approaching mindfulness. But if you know what you want to do, it's nothing more difficult than being able to create some time, about 15 minutes by yourself, No TV, no radio, nobody. You don't want to draw your attention anywhere but from on you. When you sit in that chair, then you become aware of your breathing. You haven't even closed your eyes yet. You're just focusing on your breathing. You're feeling the air moving in and out of your body as you breathe, coming into your nostrils when you inhale and going out of your mouth when you exhale. And as you begin to focus on your breathing, when you become comfortable, you gently close your eyes. You continue to see the air moving in and out of your body. Is your mind going to wander? Sure it is. But you'll know you're doing it right when your mind starts to wander and you gently bring it back. That is mindfulness.
Vernon, where can our listener find you?
I can be found on LinkedIn, actually. My name is Vernon Webb, and that's Webb with 2 B's. My company is Webb Group Leadership Development, and our website is wgleadershipdevelopment.com.
And they can contact you through the website?
Absolutely.
Excellent. And before we conclude, I want to ask you, what is your definition of a thriving life?
My definition of a thriving life is, 1, I'm happy. When I wake up in the morning, I'm anxious and I'm grateful to have another day to do what I want to do. And what puts a smile on my face, my passion, is helping people. So to be given another opportunity each day to help someone, that to me empowers me. And when I feel empowered, I thrive.
And there you have it. Keep in mind that this skill that you learned today is very powerful, but it's powerful only when applied. So I would encourage you to go ahead and apply whatever you learned during this episode as soon as possible. If you have any questions for Vernon, his contact information is at thrivinglifeclub.com/8. That's the number 8. And you will also find the show notes there. If you have any questions for me and feedback, email me at hello@thrivinglifeclub.com.